Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Moving Mindset Mondays. I am your host, Coach Brooks, and I'm super excited to have the opportunity to bring on a phenomenal guest, someone who has endured some tremendously difficult tests, grew up in Vietnam, yet came to America, and now is working to build a life of success and help other people do the same. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Michelle. Hey Michelle, how you doing? Hey, can you hear me? Michelle, are you there? Oh, looks like we got disconnected. All right, might be having some technical difficulties here. If you guys hold on for a second. All right, are you back?
Hello,
Hey, I see you. Are you back?
can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Are you in? Are you on?
Yeah, I'm in. I don't know what happened.
Okay, it looks like your video is lagging.
Still, I just fixed it. It's still lagging.
Yep, we're still lagging.
I don't know what happened.
You must got a
Usually
real
not
great
like this.
story to tell everybody. That's why we're having all these issues.
That must be
Must be the best story yet.
the case. That must be the case. Okay, let's try to go live again. Or are we already live?
We are live. live across the air.
Okay, awesome. So, how do you want me to start? Is there any introduction to this, or I mean, I want to
Well,
for you to run the show,
first,
you know?
no, absolutely. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you on board. We're just gonna march on, even though your video is still lagging. We're just gonna keep moving forward. I guess we can hear you through audio, but yes, absolutely. We definitely. I'm super excited to have you on board. I know we talked a little bit about your story. I think it's quite amazing to hear the things that you've overcome, and I know you're going to be an inspiration to folks today. So, if you can take us back, your journey from growing up in Vietnam and coming here to America, and getting into the Christian faith, and sharing that story with us today.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate the opportunity to share my story with people, and my story is a one that is, I would have to say, that is saved by Christ, and definitely guided by the Holy Spirit and groomed by God. Without Him, I would have been here, and nothing that I could have done. Um, so, so growing up, just back, I was born and raised in Vietnam. I came here when I was 18. The reason that I got here was because when I was 18, I applied for two scholarships. Am I still in these? I'm not quite sure. I'm in and out a little bit. Do you lose me a little bit right there?
Well,
I'm not
we can
quite
still
sure.
hear you. You're loud and clear. Your video's not there, but we can still hear. We can hear you clear.
Okay, sounds good. So when I was 18, I got two academic scholarships to study abroad. Now, why was my head in that direction? Like, why did I go for a scholarship? Because growing up in Vietnam, life was good, but my parents wanted something different for me. So ever since I was a little kid, I remember when I was 6 years old, my dad sat me down and talked to me about my future path. I mean, think about it. I was six. You know, most 6 years old don't really get to do that or don't really have to do that, and however you want to put it. But my parents are really serious parents. They're not really gonna joke around kind of people. So they want exactly what the future would look like for their child, and they make sure that there's a plan intact to make that come true. So that's why they start investing in me. English is not my first language, as you can tell. I started learning since I was 8. So they started to invest a lot of money and time and just a lot of human power in me to make sure that I get a good education, with the goal that when I turned 18 after high school, I got a chance to go abroad and study. And a lot of my friends actually did that. I'm not the only one. Growing up over there, America's was the dream. Still is the American dream. They look at America as the freest and the greatest country in the world, and they want the best for them and their family. So they do everything they can to get their children to the US. It's funny how nobody wanted to get their kids to China, but hey, we don't want to talk about that, right?
You're right
But
about that. I
yeah,
don't see
and
anybody running to go to China. So
hey, so side story, but it makes me sick when people that are born and raised here and don't know how privileged and entitled they are to be born and raised in a country like this. And they keep talking
right.
about, I want to go to live in another country. I'm like, I would be happy to trade my place with you, bro. Like, talk. I would trade my visa anytime. There's no problem with that. You really have to
What
go to another country to appreciate the life you have right here.
what
Go
are
ahead,
some of
sir.
the differences that you notice growing up in Vietnam, spending time here in America? What do you know the difference? I mean, Uh, you outline some of those things that makes you say you don't want to go back and live in Vietnam.
Um, that is a really good question. Here's how I would put it. Um, Life over there is pretty good if you don't try to think or care too much. It is pretty good. It's decent. You have food in your belly. There's electricity. There's internet. You can go and enjoy a drink Friday night, Saturday night. So it's pretty much like a modern life anywhere. But how do you boil a frog? That's a story that I read in a book a while ago. How do you boil a frog? You don't just like a living frog. You don't just put a frog into like like boiling water, right? Because it would feel the temperature and jump out because it
Right.
can feel like it's I'm burning up. I'm being burnt. But if you put a frog into like lukewarm water, if you put a frog into lukewarm water, he will just swim around, lay on his belly, and thinking that it's the greatest water in the world. I'm at the peak of my life. The water is great. I'm feeling comfortable. And then you increase the water a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit. And then the frog ends up dying without knowing why he dies. He didn't
Mm.
know the very thing that he feel comfortable in is the thing that killed him. So that to me, that what it was like growing up over there. I live a really blessed life. I thank God and my parents for everything. I didn't starve. I had a good education, and most of my friends did. We live in the city, than just the comfort of life, and you care about your legacy. You care about what kind of mindset you want to raise your children, what kind of education are they getting, what
Looks like we lost you again. Hmm. Story's getting good, and all of a sudden we lose you. See here, we can get you back here. Appreciate everybody being patient. Technical difficulties. All right, looks like you're back.
hello, is that better? Where did I lose you?
We lost you at the part where you were talking about, you ended talking about the frog and, being comfortable in life, and that's how you get pretty much boiled, being
Right,
comfortable.
yeah. Right, and Vietnam has really developed a lot since the war. After the fall of Saigon in 1975, we have developed, globalizations. You see more buildings over there, and it looks good. It looks good on the outside. But I care about the soul. I really care about the legacy, the life that my children are going to live. And I care about that because my parents did, especially my dad. To be living in a communist country, what it tasted to be pull around like puppets, what it takes to really not have your freedom. And the saddest thing is they don't have the freedom and they don't know they don't have the freedom. So it's like you were in a
Wow.
concentration camp thinking that you're in a five-star motel, a hotel. And that's the mindset. And growing up, I was a really different kid to all my friends because I care about politics, and they'd be like, "Why? Just go have fun. Why do you care about stuff that nobody else cares about at my age?" But I care about that because I really care about the people. I love the country. I don't have anything against it. I love the people. I just really wished that things could have been different, that we could have been freer. That is for the people. It is God's people. So So yeah, that's really part of my we kind of branch off into that, but that was my story growing up. So when I was 18, I was really blessed to get two scholarships to go abroad. One was to Sydney and one was to the US. And my parents picked the US. So I'm like, you pay for the plane ticket. I got no choice. So I got on the plane and I flew to the US. And growing up, I didn't know anything about faith because over there, I think only 10 or 20% are Christian, or I don't know,
Mm.
even lower than that. The very major religion is Buddhism, and I don't have anything against whatever people choose to believe in, but a very big, and how do I put it, materialized part of the Buddhism over there, they actually work hand in hand with the government
Mm.
to I don't want to go into details, but they work hand in hand to make it a national religion. And there's a lot of agendas, there's a lot of strings behind the scenes, there's a lot of things that people do, the government do, not people, the people at the tip top, they do to ensure the liquidation of any kind be- of how do I put this, any kind of divine belief and self freedom that a person can pursue. Because if you know too much, you a liability. If you know too much, you can be a liability to the empire. And they have tried hard to keep all these years. I'm not going to go into much into that. I honestly don't have enough knowledge about that to talk about, but from my experience growing up and from reading papers and stuff like that, that's where that's what I think is going on. So yeah, growing up, I mean, I knew of Christianity. I knew of Christ. Is every Christmas, every holiday is he's like a symbol. He's like a lucky bunny. It's not things special to me. It was just okay, just another religion that people worship. So I guess there wasn't any point. And my parents, my whole family, my relatives, aunties, uncles, I love them, but none of them um were saved. Not even that, but none of them believe in what I believe, because and it's understandable because they grew up being taught to believe one way, and unless you really seek out your way to change and open to changing, is really hard to live in an environment when no one told you any different. There's church going on back home. I guess they just, for some reason, God really blessed me and wake me up. He woke me up. I couldn't have done anything. I couldn't have won 10,000 scholarships to earn his grace, but for some reason he chose me, and I have no idea why. But yeah, so my parents don't believe what I believe to this day. They respect what I believe. To them, it's just another religion. Like all the religions, everything people believe in is to help guide us to do good things in life. That's their theology. That's what they believe all religions to be. To me, it's different. To me, it's not about the logistic. It's not about that. It's about relationship. But for them, it's totally different. So when I was 18, I came here. I wasn't saved. Not until a few years later, I met with this group of entrepreneurs, and they own a very successful online business, and I was interested in making money. So I stay in touch with them. I got mentorship from them, and through that organization, who is, thank God, they are a faith-based organization. They're Christ-based, to be honest. Through that led me to Christ at one of the functions
Oh,
that is I was called. Can you hear me still?
yeah, we can hear you. You're kind of going in and out a little bit. This is probably someone need to hear this message. That's why all this interference is occurring. All right, looks like we are losing you again. All right. Again, we appreciate you guys hanging with us. This is the first time we've had this interference with the internet, but obviously it's a much needed time. That's why it's waves are getting messed up. Oh, you're back. Okay. Or are you back?
Okay, where did we lose? Where did you lose me?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
If you can start off back where you were talking about the group of entrepreneurs who you met that helped you with your faith.
Yes. So I met them when I was 20, and I was interested in earning an extra stream of income. So they were there, and I wanted to learn. And as I got to associate and got to know them better. I accepted their mentorship, and they happen to be a Christ-based organization. They base their faith and belief around Christianity, and through the association with believers, I got saved. I remember it was in September. It was at a business function in the morning and Sunday morning as a church service. And one of the business owner, he was just talking about, I don't remember what he was talking about, but I cannot forget to this day the way that he made me feel. I can feel the Holy Spirit just calling me to just step out in faith and have faith of a mustard seed, just really small faith, and say, hey, I'm willing to believe that there is a God. That was the first step. Believe that there is a God, and there is his son, Jesus. So that was out of faith. I couldn't really tell what it felt. Sometimes you go to seminars and you hear speakers, or even talk to a dearest friends, and you don't really remember what they say. Years from now, you don't remember the conversation, but you can always recall the way they make you feel. That's what it was like to me being saved. So that was my story turned to a new page, and now I'm 25, so I've been saved 4 or 5 years. I have to say, yeah, and it's been a great journey.
So what is your experience now? I mean, what do you deal with now? I mean, with all that's going on in society with the pandemic and all the different ideas of socialism and things that you have firsthand experience about. What is your journey like now that in your experiences?
You asking about my journey in faith,
Right. Just
or
now that
what kind of journey?
well, when you're coming from being, growing up in a, Buddhist faith in Vietnam, and then you're here in America as a Christian. I mean, how was your journey now being an entrepreneur, being a director, for your broadcast? Like, what's your experience, like the things that you encounter, and how do you deal with it according to your faith?
Um, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna just speak the truth about what I experienced. No sugarcoat. I think as Christian, or let's just put this, as follower of Christ, because I really don't know. Sometimes I say the term Christian, I really don't, because a lot of people claim themselves to be Christian. I don't know what kind. I don't really know what they do in their free time. I don't really know. So I'm just gonna say, like, follower of Christ. People truly believe in Christ and do their best, very uh, very flawly, very imperfectly, but do their best to live their life walking the narrow path. That's how I put it. So, as follower of Christ, I believe we are the number one target for Satan. The reason is because Satan hates God, so he hates his creation. The best way to attack God is to attack his children. My life, I'm just being honest, my life before I was saved was much easier in terms of the worldview, was much easier than after when I was saved. And it's not because I don't really know, but it's not that I had more challenges, but it's like I rose myself up, or God called me up, and I became something that endanger the the empire of Satan, or whatever he's trying to do, to destroy lives on earth. Um, think about this. It's like if you are in a concentration camp and there's this guard at the door, the guard would not care so much if you were still in the camp. If you stay inside the camp, okay, he's just the prisoner in the concentrating camp. But if you try to escape, then yeah, then you become a threat to the guard, and he would do everything he can to put you down. So it's the same for this situation. It is more difficult, and I think is is promised in the Bible. That once we choose to follow Christ, he was crucified, so the world will hate us because he hates him first. So I'm not surprised about that. But among those difficulties, there's been a lot of blessing, because the blessing that I get right now from choosing to believe in him, nothing that I accomplished, or nothing that I achieved by luck before I was saved can compare to this. In those moments that I just feel so assured, it's that kind of feeling that you live without fearing death, because you know that there is a battle and it's already been won, and after the death there's an eternity after that. So you don't really, there's no fear. It's not that I don't have any fears. I mean, I do, and I still overcoming them every day, but there's no fear of death like I used to have when I was a kid. Um, Walk me through this journey. I'm here. I'm still in school. I'm still learning. I'm still have to work towards certain goals, to be able to establish my residency and everything here. So it's quite a journey on that. And every step I take, I don't know where it would take me. I We can plan 5-10 years ahead, but unless it's congruent with God's plan, we don't really know what's going to happen. So all I can do is take the next step and trust that He didn't bring me this far to let me fail. There was one incident I can tell that how his faith kind of pulled me through. That was when I was it was last year. It was last year. Actually, I was in a situation where I had to pay a really large sum for tuition. And for those of you that don't know, for people that is not from here, tuition is like 4 times more. Even though my GPA
Right.
qualified, I'm not qualified to pay the same tuition that you guys pay. It is 4 times more. So whatever you pay in school right now, time 4, that's how much I have to pay out of pocket. Which makes sense. You come to
Wow.
the U.S., you pay for everything,
All right. Looks like we lost you again. Or are you back?
I think I'm back. Yeah, I'm back
You are
now.
back. So,
It's like those important moments. It's like the
yeah,
important
it
moments. You
sounds
just
like when
really
you're
drop
getting
me. Like,
ready, yeah, when you're getting ready to give some good information, you start to fade out. So, but yeah, you left off on the tuition being 4 times greater for foreign students.
correct. And to me, it's fair because I didn't grow up here. I didn't pay tax, so I don't have the privilege to share the same privileges as a U.S. citizen. So it makes sense, but still, it is a lot on me and my family, and for all students to come over here and have to really pay that tuition. So the way to get out of that is by scholarships, or some kind of funding, some kind of donations, or whatever the case might be, that people can give you, or about 90% of them, I do it through scholarships. The 5 years that I stay here, and it's not easy, but just got to get it done. Otherwise, I have to go back home, because you cannot stay here without. It's a lot of regulations go into it. I don't want to go into it right now, and it's a lot. But anyway, the incident was it was like 5 days before the deadline to pay my tuition, because if I don't pay on time, then all my classes are going to be dropped. And if my classes drop, I'm going to be out of status and I cannot stay here. So I was really stressed out. My parents were really stressed out. We were all stressed out. We didn't know what to do. And I really did feel like all lost was hope. Like, I came here, I worked so hard for the past 5 years, 4 years at the time, to get to this point, and everything is just crumbling down. And I don't know what else to do. There's no way out of this. I was really hopeless. Um, and I was upset because I felt that God didn't listen. That I did everything, and I pray, and I really asked for help, and you're just not here. And so I got on the phone and talked to my mentor. I just talked to him about the situation, and it's really good, guys. As a tip for, like, when it's come to crisis, it's really good to connect with a fellow believer, especially someone who is more spiritually grounded than you are. You get a lot from them, like their experience is there's something about the unity of two and two, or two or more than two. When two are in unity, God definitely command his blessing. So I was in unity with my mentor. He was just talking about me some ways out of it, just do certain things from now until the next 5 4 days. So just out of faith, I went out and applied for several more scholarships that I didn't finish applying for, and I called in some favors that I had in the past few years. And I woke up the next day and I checked my email, and I got news from my school, from my college, that I just got a 4,500 scholarship from school out of nowhere, from an organization that I just applied for the day before that. And all the favors that I call in from friends, from relatives, they all came through. So they got me through that season. And for the days that from the time that I was doing the things that I was supposed to do to choose to the day that I heard about the scholarship, and everything that's kind of falling through, I would just how do I put it? I talk to God every day. I'm just like, if it's meant to be, if this is the plan you have for me, and this is where I'm supposed to be, then I know and I trust that you will bring me through. Because is this in Psalm 2:3? I don't remember the verse, but there's a season for everything, and I will bear fruit in my season, and nothing that's sin against me will prosper. So I just go back to scripture. I just really just give it. I mean, like, dude, I'm like, dude, I really have nothing else to lose. This is it. So if you want me here, I be here. I've done everything I can. It was up to you. And he delivered. So my life lessons through that is that God listens to everything, but the way that he answers to everything that you ask for, sometimes it doesn't come off as an answer that you want right now. It is what you need, but it's not what you want. And because it's not what you want, and it's against the flow of the world where everything has to be instant. We talk about instant gratification, and where actually there's no gratification, as you talk in one of your talk, where everything has to be instant. We want our answer right now, but God works in season, and God works in patience. Patience is one of the hardest virtue that I have to develop. I'm still developing every day. It is so hard because everything has to be right now. But God listened to everything, every request, everything that you asked for. God listened to everything, but He knows what's best for you. So yeah, that was one story out of many that I can just clearly state that was God delivering me through, because there was no way by myself, by flesh, by me alone, I could have I could have pulled myself out of that. And there's many more stories that I have developed in the past 5 years. I have, accumulated in the past 5 years, and there's many more to come. Um, so yeah, that was the journey. That was the story.
Awesome. Well, I mean, just the fact that you showed that connecting with people that believe like you believe, or have stronger testimony, stronger faith. I agree with that. Being it's essential because sometimes we aren't as strong as we want to be, or have to be in
Mhm.
the storm, and having people there to be able to help us, walk through. It's very important. And the Bible says that, you know, uh, where two or three gather in my name, there I'm in the midst. And God made a point to ensure that we don't try to journey through life alone. That we have people that we can call on, and that's why it says we have to encourage each other every day. And just hearing your story of how I mean, because if you'd have lost your status, you'd have been back in a place you didn't want to be, and having the faith to know that He didn't bring you here for nothing, all the 4 years just to have to go back, that's faith right there to be able to make that happen. So, but let me ask you, what would you tell people who are watching that, are on the fence about their faith, or they don't even believe, or they believe partly in, they believe that there is God, there is Jesus Christ, but may not believe in, that He can make a way. What would you say? What kind of words of encouragement would you give them?
I I don't have enough faith, not anymore. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. It takes so much
Mm.
faith to be an atheist, to not believe in a higher being. I don't have enough faith. That's coming from someone. I can from someone who was an atheist, because I was raised that way. I was raised to not believe in anything. Believe in doing good and believe in people, believe in karma, but not really believe in a higher being. No. So I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Is if you are on the fence on whether or not there is a God and whether or not you should believe, I'm not going to tell you to believe, because then you're going to do it saying, oh, because she told me to. I think if there's a seed of doubt or even a seed of contemplation of questions that was sown in your head about whether or not there is one, um, I think it's your choice to whether or not to bear that seed. I mean, keep living your life and keep looking out for something that your secular life cannot explain, can only explain by some divine and sacred intervention. Um, I cannot give you an answer to that, because I'm not God. He has his way to work with everyone. My story of being saved is gonna be different from yours. Yours is gonna be even more miraculous in a way that we will love to hear. So I don't know how it's gonna happen for you. I don't want to tell you a story. Um, but what I did is, even when I was exposed to Christianity in the U.S., I didn't close the door. Even though I believe, back then I believed that there really is no God, that they really just look up to someone they think who's a God to keep their soul restful, or whatever the case might be. Even though that I told myself that there's a seed inside my head, like, but what if there is? What if there actually is someone out there? So I never closed that door. So the best thing you can do right now, and it has to be your choice, is knowing the seed is there and keep the door open. You don't have to believe in anything. You don't have to go to church tomorrow and get saved. You don't have to do anything drastic. I wouldn't do that. To be truthful to yourself, just live your life and trust that whatever is supposed to happen, going to happen. Um, just keep that door open. The more open you are to receiving, the more He has a way to give and deliver to you. Um, in what way will He deliver? I don't know. That's up to Him. You gotta talk to Him about that. You can ask Him tonight, like, hey, are you coming? Like, when are you coming? And just have an honest conversation. The God that I know is a God of just and a God of love. He is very just and also very loving, and he's always reaching out for his people, especially those who are lost. Especially those who are lost. And the story in the Bible with the two brothers, the father was more joyful when he found his lost son than his son that's already been here. And that's when I learned that God really are looking intensively every day for his lost sheep. We just need to be there when he finds us. Sometimes he finds us and we're not there. So just keep the door open, and just be yourself and live, and keep the door open. That's all I can say.
Awesome. I love that. I love how you explain that, because I mean you don't really hear that too much usually. It almost sounds like you get ready for an altar call, and then someone gets wooed or pushed or nudged, or even had someone grab their hand and bring them up there, but it's not in their heart. They haven't decided to make that commitment themselves, and then they end up joining more so a ritual and a routine, and never have that experience. Never understand that it's really a relationship more than it is than a religion, or any type of rituals or anything like that. So absolutely, I totally agree with that. I mean, you have to have your heart open. And when that time comes, it's the closed hearts that stop believing or don't believe, or never believe. It's the open hearts that he can reach and show you who he is through. I mean, I've experienced so many things, even in times where I really didn't believe. I grew up in a church, so I understand the whole routine ritual every Sunday. But then, like you said, you get those experiences, and those experiences that you can't explain through your own lifestyle, your own walk, through whether it be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever the case may be. You say that, how did that happen? And that's when he's reaching out to say, look, this is me, and we have to have that willingness to jump on board. So, but yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming on the show today. Do you have any last words, anything you'd like to tell anybody?
Um, no, just thank you for having me on. I wanted to say this at the beginning. Congratulations on the new baby, but the
Thank you,
internet
thank
was
you,
so off, so that was cut out of my mind. I was like, I
thank you.
want
I
to say that, but then
appreciate
I
that.
just internet. But yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm looking forward to just I really did hope that the audio came through. So at least if you didn't see me, you can really hear me. And I'm really open to having more discussion in the future regarding this, especially the for me what I'm passionate about right now, and especially in this season of my life, and what everything is going on in the world, is how to the mindset of being a true follower of Christ. What does it look like to be a Christian in daily life? Does it mean not participating in politics? Does it mean stay utterly to everything? Does it mean making people happy? What is that? Does it mean? What does it involve and call you to be salt and light in the world? Because to me, as I see it, sometimes we're just too afraid. We are so nice, and we're just so afraid to speak out and to do something, to enter into the community and to be that part of it. You have to be the change that you want to see. And things in the world happen every day, and they need us not just to preaching gospel, and not just to go to church on Sunday. That's great, but to actually participate in the normal life. I think we are called to be counselor to king and queens. We are called to be the counselor to the king, and to do that, you really have to step out and actually do it. And I'm speaking to myself as well. I'm still working on it, but that's what I care about nowadays. And instead of just sitting by, go have a drink on Friday night, get on TikTok, do some stupid stuff, and really let the world pass you by. And by the generation of your grandchildren, that will look back at you and say, "Hey, remember that what happened in 2020 something when certain things happened? What did you do, Grandma?" And you'd be like, nothing." I don't want that answer. So I'm
right.
gonna want to do something about that. But yeah, that's my last remark. I just want to thank you for having me on. I think what you're doing is amazing. Whoever's watching continues to support moving mindset, and looking forward to working with each other again in the future. That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Appreciate you having you on board. Hey, thank you for tuning in to Moving Mindset. We appreciate you guys coming and sticking with us, even with the audio and visual effects that we don't want. So it didn't want. So we appreciate you guys hanging in there. Please tune in next Monday. Have another phenomenal guest that's going to come on and share their story. And looking forward to keeping you guys inspired, encouraged, and motivated in this season. All right. You guys have yourself a phenomenal rest of your day. And remember to be blessed.